So, good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. And tell me, how are you doing? Everything is fine. And how's your preparation going on? So, if you're there, write hi in the comment box and we'll begin our class. So, in our previous class, we have covered from first question to question number 80. So, total 80 questions we have already discussed. And these questions not only have answers and explanation but also other options. The remaining options explanations are there. So in that way we have learned so much, and in that 80 question we have spent almost like 5 to 6 hours. And now the concept should have been cleared in your mind that if you get again these kind of question, you will be able to answer correctly. And now today we'll start from 81 and then we'll finish this paper. And tomorrow we'll have complete revision from first to 100 questions. So be there. And so let's start. So question number 81 is in your screen, and tell me which one is the correct answer and which one do you think is closely associated with the question. So here now again we have to arrange this in chronological manner. So here there are options A to E, and there is some theater and who is associated with who, and this we have to actually arrange in chronological order. And in below we have option that we have to select the correct answer. So if you were tell me the theater of revolt is by Robert Brustein, and the theater of absurd by Martin Esslin. So the playwright as thinker by Eric Bentley. We have to arrange the order. Okay? It's a kind of so modern drama practiced by. I mean, if we look at the answer says C B A E N D. So C is the first, C B A E N D. So C, modern American drama by W E Bixby is the first one. C is the first. The playwright as thinker by Eric Bentley. B, then second is the theater of absurd by Martin Aslan. Then A is theater of revolt by Robert. And then we have E, modern drama theory and practice by Alan Stein. So in the answer we have added explanation into it and little bit introduction about it. The first one was, and we have date also mentioned. So the playwright as thinker by Eric Bentley, which was published in 1946. The rest is later, like the theater of absurd by Martin Esslin was in 1961. The theater of revolt by Robert Brustein was 1964. Modern drama in theory and practice by Alan Stein, which was published in 1981. And at the end we have modern American drama, which was published in 1992, and it is by C.W.E. Bixby. And these works are very important. Like in the first one, Bentley argues that the playwright must be a thinker who uses his or her work to engage with the world and challenge the status quo. And in the theater of absurd that we know all, like Harold Pinter and Samuel Beckett and these people associated uh, with theater of absurd. So it is actually a seminal work and introduced the concept of the absurd. And Aslin argues that this new form of theater, which was characterized by its use of non-squitters, illogical situation, and existential theme, and also it has some sense of alienation, meaninglessness. So absurd stands for existential theme, meaninglessness, alienation. So these are very important themes in theater of absurd, which was introduced by Martin Aslin in his work The Theater of the Absurd. So the Theater of Revolt by Robert Brustein, it is also something like, it was emerged 1950s and 60s, including the Theater of Absurd, the Living Theater, and the Black Art movements. So we have again another three more movement at the same time: Theater of Absurd, the Living Theater, and the Black Arts movement. So it was all between 1950s to 1960s. Again, so these work we have already discussed. Now we just can go, and now we have question number 82. So in 82 we again have to arrange these works in chronological order, and here are the name of the works, and here are the orders that we have to select. So choose the anyway, first, Madness and Civilization is by who? Michel Foucault, right? The Archaeology of Knowledge again is by Foucault, Michel Foucault. And the Language of the Self, the function of language, and The Birth of the Clinic, again it is by Foucault. And Culture and Anarchy, that we know, it is by Matthew Arnold. Psychoanalysis could be not related to, but anyway, we'll see. So Culture and Anarchy, of course, it could be the first, because this is by Matthew Arnold, right? And then all these three works is by Michel Foucault. The Language of the Self, the function of language in psychoanalysis. So we have to correct. If so, E in three option we have, we can eliminate the fourth. We can just see the answer, and EACBD. EACBD. So E, as I said, is first, and then A, Madness and Civilization, and then C, we have the Language of the Self, and again we have now B, which is the Archaeology of Knowledge, and D, The Birth of the Clinic. We can just see the explanation and will know the better. So as I said, Culture and Anarchy by Matthew Arnold, 1869. The Birth of the Clinic, Michel Foucault, 1963. Again, Madness and Civilization by Foucault, 1964. The Archaeology of Knowledge is again by Michel Foucault, 1969. The last one was The Language of the Self, the function of language in psychoanalysis by Jake Lacan, which was published in 1975. So it is the correct order of the work. Three of them was by Michel Foucault, one is by Matthew Arnold, and the last was by Jake Lacan. And in Extra Park I have explained a bit about it, and also the term they have introduced in the work. The Culture and Anarchy, that we know, by Matthew Arnold, and it is one of the first work on culturalism, or you can say, and it also plays important role in the establishment of high culture. And again, Michel Foucault, The Birth of the Clinic, we know in this work he has introduced a concept like medical gaze, like clinical gaze. No, there is a medical gaze, so he has introduced in that. And again, we have Madness in Civilization. There he introduced a couple of many important terms, and it is published in 1964, and it is about history of mental illness and its treatment in Europe from Middle Ages to the 19th century. And the book argues that the treatment of the mentally ill has been closely tied larger social, political, and cultural development, and that the mad have been treated as outcast from society. The Archaeology of Knowledge, again, it is by Michel Foucault, published in 1969, and it says, and this work is an exploration of relationship between knowledge and power. Jake Lacan, The Language of the Self, The Function of Language, is actually a psychoanalytical work which was published in 1975, and it's the collection of essays that explores between language and subjectivity. So that was our question number 82. Now we'll move to the question number 83, and it is on your screen. Tell me if you like the explanation. And Singh Saab says that it is great explanation, and thank you so much, Singh Saab. And it means a lot, and we'll continue anyway. So question number 83 is in your screen, and it again asks you to arrange this in chronological manner. So tell me which one came first. Was it structuralism, psychoanalysis, or eco-criticism, orientalism, and new criticism? So I'll just give you some hint. Remember, this psychoanalysis came somewhere around 18th century, right? With Freud, he has started the subject, and there was again many more, like Lacan was there. So psychoanalysis we could put in the first. This eco-criticism is the recent one, which could be at the end. So see, it has, so we have two options left. Now we have to think about which one comes first. Is it structuralism or orientalism or new criticism? So new criticism started with who? This structuralism is based on Russian structuralism, that formalism. So we can just say that new criticism was the first. So we can just see the explanation. Psychoanalysis was the first one, which was developed by Freud in 19th and early 20th century, and it is a theory of personality psychotherapy which explores the unconscious mind. So remember, Sigmund Freud introduced many terms like it has id, ego, and superego, right? And he has also introduced many terms like Oedipus complex is there, and that's why he's one of the most important, actually the pioneer of psychoanalysis, which was introduced in 19th and 20th century. And again we have now new criticism was the second. As I told you, new criticism emerged around 20th century as literary theory that focus on the text itself, and there were so many critic who was associated with new criticism, including by T.S. Eliot. So then historical. So it actually new criticism only. It emphasized close reading and analysis of literary language, form, and uncovers the universal meaning of value of a work of literature. Again, structuralism now is developed by Ferdinand de Saussure in the early 20th century and later popularized by Levi-Strauss, Roland Barthes, as a theory that emphasizes the underlying structure and system of language, culture, society. Orientalism is by Edward Said, which was in the mid 20th century, 1978, is a theory that examines how Western culture have historically represented and constructed the East. So again, eco-criticism is the last one, which was in late 20th century, and it actually explores the relationship between literature and natural world. So now we have finished the question number 83. Now we have moved to the question number 84, and it's again would be to arrange this chronological order. Again, we have the work, and now we have to arrange in chronological manner. Again, we have first Matthew Arnold's Culture and Anarchy. Tell me which one do you think is the first. So in all of these we see Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan could be the first because it is first, like political work. So Leviathan is somewhere around 17th century, and then these are quite late, like 18th, this is 19th, and Thomas Brown, The Anatomy of Melancholy. So it could be after this. So C and B could be there somewhere nearby. And Walter Pater's Defense of Poesy. So this could be our Walter Pater would be the last, and P.B. Shelley before that. So T.E. Let me see the answer because of the. So Thomas Brown was the first one, The Anatomy of Melancholy. I told you these two works would be somewhere nearby. So Leviathan actually is the second. So 1621 published The Anatomy of Melancholy by Thomas Brown, and it is actually medical treatise, and it is talking about, and this talks about melancholy and depression. Thomas Hobbes, as we know, it's a political treatise written by Hobbes, published in 1651, and it talks about that monarchy is in the top. He says that monarchy is divine, and every monarch should rule in order to control its citizen and maintain balance. And it says the book concerns the structure of society and legitimate government, and is considered to be the social contract theory. Anyway, Matthew Arnold, Culture and Anarchy, as I said, it's one of the important work in cultural studies, and he actually pioneered this cultural studies, if you can say. It was started around 1869. This work was published in 1869, and it critiqued the contemporary culture of Victorian England and advocates for this term, sweetness and light. Walter Pater's studies in the history of Renaissance. So as we know, Walter Pater is also Victorian, but associated with art for art's sake. So it is a work of in the history of The Renaissance is a collection of essays. It's a collection of essays by Walter Pater and published in 1873. It discusses the art, literature, and culture of the Italian Renaissance and is considered a key text in the development of aestheticism. So, P.B. Shelley Defense is published in 1821. So, in P.B. Shelley's life, 1819 to 1822 is very famous period where he has actually written most of his important work. So, A Defense of Poetry is an essay, and it was published in 21, and it says, poets are the acknowledged legislator of the world, and that poetry has the power to inspire revolution and social changes. So, according to him, the poetry has the power to inspire, and also the poets are the acknowledged legislators. So, that is our question number 84. Now we have, so this is the last work to arrange chronologically. So tell me, which one do you think, which option do you think is work? So here is the work: Structuralist Poetics, Course in General Linguistic, The Pursuit of Science, The Pleasure of the Text, The Implied Reader. Tell me. So The Implied Reader is by Wolfgang Iser, I think. The Pleasure of the Text is by who? Roland Barthes. Anyway, we'll see. The Course in General Linguistic is so we have, this is by Ferdinand de Saussure. Implied Reader is Wolfgang Iser. The Pleasure of the Text, again Roland Barthes. Structuralist Poetics is by Jonathan Quiller, and The Pursuit of Science is by Jonathan again Quiller. So we have, this is a little bit closer. The others, this is also, I mean, most all of the work is closer except this. So if we know the like B1, so it has only one. We knew that Course in General Linguistic is published in very early 20th century. So the date was 1916. So we could, if we knew this, we could have answered this easily. And if, let me see if we have term here. Okay, so this is our work, and as I said, the dates are there also. First one, Course in Linguistic by de Saussure, 1916. The Implied Reader, Wolfgang Iser, published in English 1974, but in German 1972. That's why it's confusing. The Pleasure of the Text by Barthes and published in 1973. Structuralist Poetics by Quiller, 1975. And the end, and at the end we have The Pursuit of Science, written by again Quiller, published in 1981. So that was our last one, the type of question that we have been doing it, like past 5 to 6 question we had to arrange all of these in chronological manner. Now we have question number 86, and these questions would be in from 86 to 90s. There will be 2 statements, and in that 2 statements we have to answer which according to these options, whether it's both statements are correct or both statements are wrong, or one is true or the other false, or so this way we can answer. So the question said, The book The Theatre of Revolt was written by Robert Brustein. Remember, this question has asked again in the previous question. So in that chronologically order, I think that the question was, and this work was also mentioned. So in paper, we are getting 2, 3, 4 time, same, related to same somewhat. So again in the statement it asks, the book of the Theatre of Revolt was written by Robert Brustein. And the statement second says, the book The Theatre of Revolt is written in the context of French Revolution. So again, Theatre of Revolt and French Revolution. Do you think it has any relationship? Because this is a recent work and it talks about. So what could be the answer? Is it both of the correct, or well, first one is correct, that we have seen already, saw this in our question paper, that this work is written by Robert Brustein, which was you can see in question number I think 82 or 83. So this is true. So statement 1 is true. So whatever is a wrong one, we can just, so we have to find out if the second statement is the correct one. So what do you think? The book of Theatre of Revolt, is it related to French Revolution? Cannot be, because maybe, or we don't know. So statement 1 is true and statement second is false, because I don't think like French Revolution was like in romantic time, right? Romanticism way. So this work is published recently, after that, so like in 20th century. So the book of the Theatre is Revolt is not written in the context of French Revolution. So to explain this statement, I have explained it in this. So as I said, the Theatre of Revolt is certainly written by Robert Brustein, who is an American theatre critic and playwright and educator. And the book is the study of the 20th century drama, and it discusses various forms of theatre which emerged in whole Europe, not only in America or Britain, but whole Europe and America after the World War II. So if it is after the World War II, there is no, the way that it will be related to French Revolution. And as I said, the statement second is false, because it is not specifically written in the context of the French Revolution, because the book focuses on the emergence of modern theatre and the various form of theatre that challenges the convention of traditional theatre. And now we have question number 87 is in your screen, and you have to find again, identify which one is the correct statement and the second, and which is incorrect. And in the statement 1 it says, Konstantin Stanislavski collaborated with Anton Chekhov to stage drama on stage. And statement second says, the book of my life and art was written by Konstantin Stanislavski. So which one do you think? And which statement could be the correct one? Well, it's like from the Russian, and most of us would not have any idea about that. Konstantin, like this guy is collaborated with Anton Chekhov. We know about Anton Chekhov. If they ask about this, we would know, but now he is asking about the drama on stage. So for the answer, both the statements are true. So 1 and 2 both are true, and why it is true, we have the explanation. So both the statements true. Which 87, something is fishy about this, because here it says both are true, but in the explanation we have different. So question number 87, I'll just look at the key and see what is 87. So both the statements are true. In the explanation we have, it says is false, but it could be is right. Anyway, statement 1 is false in the explanation, but the answer says both are true. So I have just added this. Don't think it's like really false. You have to judge it by yourself. Second is definitely true. So as is Constantine, this guy, hard to pronounce it anyway, Stanislavski did not collaborated with Anton Chekhov to stage dramas, while Chekhov's plays such as Seagull and The Cherry Orchard were staged at the Moscow Art Theatre, which was co-founded by Stanislavski, and there is no evidence to suggest that they collaborated in any of the production. So that is what we got the while searching in the net. I got this, but in our key it says like both are associated. One direct connection is not there because they didn't collaborated, but what they did is Chekhov's plays were performed in his theater, the which he co-founded. There could be, I mean, if you this is your homework, if you can find it, please share it or write in the comment box. So statement second is definitely true because this Russian Stanislavski wrote the book My Life in Art, which is considered seminal work in the field of acting and theatre. And the book details his development of the method or system of acting, which emphasizes emotional truth and psychological realism in performance. It also provides insights into the working of the Moscow Art Theatre and Stanislavski's own artistic personal journey. Anyway, so this is what question number 87 is about the book My Life in Art, and it is related to Russian literature, which was we were discussing question number 87, right? Yeah. Now question number 88 is in your screen, and you have to find out which are these statement true or false, or any of these is true or false. Anyway, so statement first says human bodies like those of other living organism are only sexed and from a particular narrow perspective. And statement second says most of the reproduction of that we undertake in our lifetimes has nothing to do with sex. Sexes could be. Anyway, in the light of the above statement, choose the correct answer from the given below. Tell me, other living organisms are only sexed from a particular narrow perspective. And statement second says most of the reproduction that we undertake in our lifetime has nothing to do with sex. So in the explanation, answer says both are true, and in the explanation why both are true, because the statement first claims that the concept of human body being sexed is a narrow perspective. Actually, this statement means it is a questioning that the idea that sex is the primary defining characteristics of human bodies. And it is true that human bodies, like those of other living organisms, can be viewed from multiple perspectives, not just from the perspective of sex. For example, a human body can also be viewed from the perspective of its anatomy, physiology, and biology. As Michel Foucault said, like medical case. So there are different kind of cases these days. Anyway, statement second says uh, suggests that the most of the reproduction that human undertakes in their lifetime have nothing to do with the sex. This statement can also be true because this can occur in because reproduction can occur in various ways such as through sexual intercourse or through medical intervention, such as in vitro IVF or artificial insemination. Additionally, human can reproduce culturally, socially through the creation of ideas, art, technology, and which have nothing to do with biological sex. So these both statement can be true, and that's why I have added explanation to support these statement this answer. So we have like that's why we can get actually why it wins, because sometime what happens, we are not satisfied with the answer they have given. To support this, we have to do little bit more research and these kind of explanation, because these statement wise, no, people don't have any explanation for it, but in our course we have added this especially, and also in the book you will find all these very close explanation for every these two statements type question. So you should get this you should get this book because it will help you so much. So we were discussing 28 question, right? Now we can just move to the 89, and in 89 question again we have now assertion and reason, and we have to find out if both are true and which explains the better. So anyway, first assertion says cooperative learning activities are those in which students must work together in order to complete a task or solve a problem. So in assertion says cooperative learning activities is two students should work together to complete a task. So simple, it says co-learning. In simple sentence we'll say cooperative students in cooperative learning complete a task or solve together. Simple. And reason says these techniques are used to identify a weak learner. So this technique, because the reason is because this technique is used to identify a weak learner and to separate him or her from the rest of the members of the group for taking special care of him. I don't think this will be supported because in these techniques are identify weak learner and separate him from the rest of the member. That will be little bit, but it could support. This is definitely reason doesn't support, right? Or maybe. Anyway, we'll see the answer. So answer the A and R both are not correct. Definitely, because by reading this we could understand this is not the right one. But first, cooperative learning activities are those when a student must work in order to complete a solve. And why it is that, we'll just see the explanation. The first statement or assertion A is correct, and it says cooperative learning activities do involve students working together to complete a task or solve. This is a common technique used. So first statement is actually correct. Education promote teamwork, collaborative and active learning. But it says okay, A is correct and R is not correct. That is sorry, I didn't read it properly. So it is correct. First one is correct. Second one is wrong, because learning activities are not used to identify weak learners and separate them from the rest, but in fact the whole purpose of cooperative learning is to promote inclusion and equally participation among all members of the group, regardless of their individual strength and weakness. So the goal of this cooperative learning is to create a supportive and encouraging learning environment in which everyone can learn from and contribute to one together. So anyway, Now question number 90 is in your screen. That is, again, it is about assertion and reason. Two statements are there. One is assertion and another is reason. You have to find out the uh, appropriate answer from the given option given below. So the assertion says, in second language learning in the same classroom setting, some students progress rapidly through the initial stages of learning a new language, while others struggle, making a very slow progress. So assertion says, in this second language learning, so classroom settings are the same, or student progress rapidly through initial stage of learning to a new language and struggle, making a slow progress. And reason, some learners never achieve native like command of second language. And why? So it says both A and R correct, and R is not the correct explanation of A. And why? We have explained why the first statement is correct, because of various factors. These factors may include individual difference in order to cognitive ability. This can affect their second language learning. So motivation, learning style, age, prior language, learning experience. So some student may progress rapidly while others may struggle to learn a new language. Why? Uh, Reason is correct, but why it is not supporting assertion? Because reason says is correct, a native like command of a language is a rare phenomenon. Even after years of language learning, most learners do not achieve the level of proficiency that is equivalent to that of a native speaker. And this is because the native like command of a language requires not only linguistic competence but also socio-linguistic and pragmatic competency, which takes years of immersion in the language and its culture. However, why reason is not supported? Reason is not the correct explanation of A, because it does not provide a direct explanation for the variation in progress among second language learners in the same classroom. Rather, it highlights the ultimate goal of language learning, which is to achieve native like command of language. So now we have finished our question number 90. Now we are only left with 10 questions, and these both are, we have to find its reading comprehension. First is about criticism. We have to analyze certain poem and find the answer. So in 91 there is a poem here. It says talking in bed ought to be easiest, lying together there goes. So this is the poem here, and the question says, which among the statement is true? The poet says that talking in bed is very easy. So talking in bed ought to be easy. So he's actually saying ought to be easy. होना चाहिए. So we have like, the poet says that talking in bed is not very easy. Is he saying ought to be easy but not very easy? Can be. The poet says that talking in bed should be easy, but it is not. So that is actually asking talking in bed ought to be the easiest. The poet says that talking in bed can never be easy. And to support this, we have the answer. The poet said that talking in bed should be easy, but it is not. So we can easily get the answer because of the reading in this sentence. Ought to be easy, but it is not easy, right? So this is our answer, and we have the short explanation. And so in the first line, it suggests that talking in bed should be the easier thing to do. But as the poem progresses, it becomes clear that the speaker is struggling to find the right words to communicate with his or her partner. The line says, yet more and more time passes silently, and it becomes still more difficult to find words at once, true and kind. Suggests that the act of talking in bed is not as easy as it seems, even though it should be. Therefore, the correct option, the poet says, that talking in bed should be easy, but it is not. See how beautiful explanation is there to support the answer. So remember this is all this kind of explanation is there in your, because when you answer this thing correctly, you will get all like 5-10 question correct from reading comprehensive. And in our explanation, it is actually teaching you how to find the answer. And so it will be really useful for you if you enroll into this course, because this is last one, and from tomorrow this class will be for paid members only. In between we'll just share like 10, 5, 6 questions, but not whole in the series. So from tomorrow we'll have the revision anyway, it'll be free. But after that, please take a moment, because it's not too much, it's just like $4.99 for the whole videos. And if you want course with a book, all 4 volume, for 1 volume cost around $4.99, but if you buy in group 4 volume, it will be like $1,499. You can save $500 from that. And also the good thing is you will get this course for free. So again, you just have to go to the description of this video and enroll right now for the course. But if you want a book, you can definitely get in touch with me, and I'll share you the link. You'll have 4 volume, and it is definitely going to help you so much. So now we have question number 92. And 92 says, the poet in the poem, the poet says that when two people are lying together, they look like. So they're lying together, they look like how? Lying together, there goes back so far, an emblem of two people being honest. Emblem, है ना? And it says, yet more and more time passes outside the winds in caprices, bills and dispersed cloud back about the sky, and the dark towns heap up on the horizon. And so in the answer we have, it's two pure human beings, an emblem of two people being honest, yet more and more time passes. So how we can understand, because the poet in the given talking in bed suggests that again the same explanation we are having. Okay, same. Talking in bed between two people should be the easiest thing to do, as they are lying together, which is a symbol of honesty between them. The poet mentioned that the wind outside is restless. Now we are coming to our answer. And dark towns are forming on the horizon, which represent the chaos and unrest in the world. However, lying together in bed should provide an escape from this chaos and bring two people closer. The poet implies that lying together is a pure and honest act, representing an emblem of two people being truthful to each other. Hence, the correct answer is that the two people lying together in bed look like two pure human beings. Mute them. But anyway, question number 93 is in your screen. The poet says that while lying in bed, he and his companion passes time. And by how? So by talking, how they are passing the time. Poet says, while lying in bed, he and his companion pass time. How? By talking between themselves, or by observing the trees outside the window, or silently, or by playing. Tell me. So, yet more and more time passes silently, only silently. They are not doing much of the things. So, the answer is silently, and we have the explanation why. The poet Philip Larkin is discussing the difficulty of communication even in intimate settings. He suggests that talking in bed ought to be the easiest form of conversation because the couple is lying together, and the act of lying together has become an emblem of honesty. However, as time passes, silence becomes more prevalent, and the outside world continues with its own concerns. The act of communication becomes increasingly difficult. So, the wind is steering outside, clouds are moving in the sky, and towns on the horizon are darkening while the couple struggles to find the right words to express. So everything is happening all around them, even though they are not talking to each other. So the correct answer is that the couple passes time silently, unable to find the right word to say to each other. So that was our question number 93. 94 is in your screen, and tell me which one is the correct answer. So the question says, the poet and his companion are what? In a place away from the town, or in a hotel? The poets and his companion are in a hotel in the middle of a town, or in a room of a hotel on the margin of the town, or the corridor of a hotel and far away from the town. Which one is mentioned? In a place away from the town. So, in dark towns heaps up in the horizon, and none of this cares for us. Nothing shows why, and this unique distance from isolation, it becomes still more difficult to find words. So does he, lying together, there goes back so far. So does it says anywhere that they are out of the town, in a place away from the town, or in a room in a hotel or the corridor? So by reading the explanation, we'll get the answer. In a place away from the town. Why? The poem Talking in Bed does not explicitly state that. Actually, it does not specifically state the place, location of the poet and his companion. When we read the poem, we don't find this. However, based on the imagery in the poem, it can be inferred that they are in a place away from town, perhaps in a rural or isolated settings. The mention of the wind outside and the clouds in the sky suggest an open natural environment rather than an urban suburban location. So additionally, because of the description of the poem and the imagery of the poem, we find out that they are not in the city, but they are outside the town, but where none of this care for us implies a sense of insignificance or disconnection from the outside world, which would be more likely a remote location. Therefore, the correct answer is in a place away from the town. So see, because of the explanation, it's so closely that we find the answer. Actually, that is the truth. Otherwise, if you just move, do you find anywhere that they are out of the town or where is somewhere? Because of the imaginary, we found the answer that they are actually in a place away from the town. It doesn't say any hotel, so all these three is gone, but they are away from the town. So through that, we can just answer our question. Question number 95 again. The poet says that while lying in bed with one's companion, it is difficult to find words which are one's what? pure and impure, true and unkind, honest and caring, and honest and touching. Where does it say this? Two people being honest, yet more and more time passes outside the wind. Incomplete unrest builds and disappear. Nothing slows by at distance. Words at once true and kind, or not untrue and not unkind. So these were once true and kind, and also untrue and not untrue and not unkind. So it is similar, both it is the same one. But anyway, in the answer we said at once honest and caring. It doesn't say like this, but why it is honest and caring? Because in the last stanza we see the the speaker expresses the difficulty of finding words that are both true and kind, or not untrue and not. These two sentences is important in the context of this question. And when lying in bed with one's companion, the speaker implies that while talking in bed should be the easiest thing to do because it symbolizes honesty, it becomes increasingly challenging to communicate with each other as time passes. The external world represented by the wind and the dark towns seems indifferent to their conversation, and the poem suggests that despite the intimacy of the moment, it is challenging to express oneself honestly and with care and towards each other. Therefore, the correct answer at once honest and caring. Right now, they are not. I mean, they are not feeling the same what they used to. So again, in the question, we have one statement here, one paragraph, and we have to find the answer. So in the passage, Christopher Cordwell or statement, his statement says, poetry in its use of language continually distorts and denies the structure of reality to exalt the structure of the self. It implies what? Which one do you think the answer is? So you have to read this. So I'll just move directly to the answer and then explanation. With that, we'll understand the capacity of poetry to draw attention to itself as an aesthetic object. For the reading and comprehension, you need really this book because everything is well explained, and also we have added the paragraph. Anyway, this passage discusses how poetry uses language to distort and deny the structure of reality. And this is here, and we have the correct answer, that is the capacity of poetry to draw attention to itself as an aesthetic object, and artifact. Now question, we are just moving quickly because it's reading comprehension, and you guys will know, you know what does it how to answer that, but to make you perfect, we have the explanation for it. Anyway, what does the word assonance means? Assonance usually means a repetition, right? A repetition of identical or similar vowel. So our answer is similar vowels or consonant. What is it? Vowels. That is assonance. So that is our answer, and we have the explanation. And here in the given passage, the author actually discusses how poetry distorts and denies the structure of reality by using language in a way that exalts the structure of the self. So here again, the explanation is there. You can just read this and answer that. Anyway, you'll get the PDF for that in your classroom. You can solve it better by reading it. So anyway, question number 97, then again we have question number 80 again. We have to read and answer. That's quite lengthy, that you can do on your own. Okay, so all 100 questions are, we have there and we have completed it. So please, you can have this book, it's really good. We have tomorrow, what we are going to do is we'll just revise 100 question. The only explanation we won't read because we have already explained 100 questions, and we can tomorrow we can have a revision of all 100 questions, and from the day after tomorrow we'll start something new. Maybe shift second will discuss and we'll have, anyway we have the explanation for second shift as well, and in there we'll discuss. Anyway, thank you so much, and we have this, we finally completed this in 7 hours. So please watch all of this and I'll see you tomorrow, and don't forget to subscribe this channel, and also you should enroll into this class. Anyway, have a great day. Bye bye.